Hey guys, so a lot of people were asking me about Onslaught. Which Onslaught should I be doing to maximize my value in the game, to maximize how I can improve my roster? So obviously there's three. You use different characters and you get different rewards. So for the Imperial one, you use Imperials and you get rewards for Chaos. This is a test account, so I just, max this out to show you that at the very end, you have access to epic Chaos badges, and potentially here you can get a legendary. I actually haven't checked, but who knows. The Xenos, you use Xenos and you get Imperial, and the Chaos, you use Chaos and get Xenos. So there's a nice little trichotomy between the three of them to where you have to build up a faction in order to improve another faction. As far as what's best, I'll tell you what I've been doing and then what I think is best. So on my main account, which I can't show you because they don't have a way for you to link iOS accounts to Google Play, which is sad, and hopefully they change because that's honestly stopping a lot of content creators from playing this game. But I've put a lot of effort into my Black Legion. I don't have Volk, but all four of these guys are at least Silver 1, and I'm putting Angrax to Silver 3 tomorrow or something like that, and then he'll be, this is not Angrax, sorry. This is Angrax. I'm putting Peyton to Gold 1 soon. So I clearly invested the most into the Black Legion of any faction. So for the longest time, I was doing a lot of Chaos, and then I noticed that my second favorite faction, or my first favorite faction in lore, but second favorite faction in the game, the Orcs, just happened to have an absolute crap ton of badges. And I was like, holy cow, did I really do that many? And yes, I really did that many. And then the nice part about that is now I'm doing this where I'm taking in my Xenos and I'm getting Imperial badges because I really think that the Space Wolf faction is going to be good. I think the meta just got nerfed, but also these characters are coming in to beat that meta even further, so I think being that first mover onto the newest faction is going to be fantastic. As far as PvP is concerned, I hope they're very PvP focused. I'm not a huge fan of PvE content, even though I know a lot of this game currently is PvE until it gets a little bit better. But I think the Space Wolves are going to be fun. I think they're a cool faction. I'm obviously a Custodes Raven Guard kind of man myself, and Orcs, so, not the greatest thing in the world for me, but it's cool. And as far as what's the optimal thing to do, I personally still to this day believe that following this general path as far as Onslaught is concerned is makes the most sense. The Chaos Black Legion is currently the best faction in the game, especially post Yarick nerf and stuff like that. They just got health buffs and armor buffs. They do great damage. They have good mobility. They have good abilities. If you can get Volk, it's awesome. Just an all-around fantastic faction, and there's no competition for their resources. With other factions like Astra Militarum, the Sisters of Slaughter, the Adeptus Sororitas, the Ultramarines, now the Black Templars, and the Space Wolves, there's obviously a very big pull in many directions about where your resources are going to go. Same thing with the Xenos races. The Tau and the Eldari are pretty good. The Orcs are not great, even though they look awesome. The Necrons and stuff like that. So the Black Legion kind of has a monopoly on their resources. So I personally think that going the Chaos route, building up a lot of the Xenos badges as you push through here is going to be a good idea. That allows you to kind of get a boost to your Orcs, which I think are not a great faction as far as PvE or PvP, but their campaign, wherever it is, their campaign here is probably one of the better campaigns. It gets you a lot of really good resources, and it's just nice to have these characters at a decent enough ability level, gear level, and stuff like that to get through the Orc campaign, because it's going to give you access to a lot of great resources. Now, they're not the greatest investment in the world. Like, on my main account, I have Golgort's at Silver 1. He's actually max stars, but that's just kind of like good RNG, so he's basically maxed out. And I'm basically putting the rest of them to Bronze 1, and they're all about uncommon to rare as far as star level is concerned. They're all like, I believe, 1 to 3 red stars. I think they're 1 to 3 red stars, and then of course Golgort's is maxed out. But I'm putting that at Bronze 1, and that gets you through the entire Orc campaign. Bronze 1 for all 4 of them, Gold Ward set, Silver 1, call it, will get you all the way through, and with some good RNG and some good tactics and tacticus, you can get complete max stars on the entire Orc campaign and open up the Elite campaign. As far as requirements for the Elite campaign, I'm not 100% sure, but what you can then do is once they're kind of, doing pretty good, and you have other Xenos as well, oh shit, you have other Xenos as well, you can go in here, and this is where it really starts to happen. I think once you have a good enough Orc faction, or, if you happen to pull Eldari or whatever your Xenos faction is, I think as the second focus, you should definitely go in here and get a lot of these badges for the Imperials, because I think the Space Wolves are going to be super, super important. Obviously, we only know about Ulf, and he's not in the game yet. I have done some testing with him. He's pretty good. Is he meta-defining? A lot of people were predicting he would be meta-defining. I've done extensive testing with him in raids, in PvP, in just every place you can put him, and he's not fantastic. I think his kit works really well in very specific situations. But those situations don't arise very frequently because of not only how PvP works, but also just the fact that until we get more as far as PvP is concerned, like obviously it's right now it's 5v5 and the most PvP you can do is Tournament Arena. Until we get that larger scale, multi, maybe it's 10 on 10, maybe it's multiple 5v5s throughout a zone, and you have to construct your defense and all that sort of good stuff. Until there's more strategy in PvP, because there isn't really any strategy in PvE or PvP at the moment, as far as positioning the characters, I think he's not going to be fantastic. I think once they figure out a way to increase map size, and I think that's kind of one of the downsides of having a vertical game like this, I think that was a big mistake, but, assuming we can get a bigger map size, maybe reduce the size of the characters and stuff like that, and actually, maybe more characters or whatever, allow there to be more tactics in this game, I think his kit would excel. But the current PvP, PvE meta is just, move quickly and it's over in a couple of turns, and I think he especially excels when you can control the strategy of the battle. It's just that you can't really control the strategy of the battle all that often. The way the game, especially in PvP, but also kind of in PvP, the way the game's currently constructed, there's just not, there's just not the strategy in this game to make a kit that is strategic work. And if you don't know what I mean, like, ice is good. It stops units. They take, increased crit damage, and it's nice. You can control a zone on the map. But the map is so small that it doesn't really do anything, because your characters are going to be dying too quickly, and it's not really going to matter. In a more strategic game mode with maybe more characters on the field or a bigger map or something like that, having those zones of control would be nice. It just doesn't come up in my testing all that frequently. And then his passive, which allows him to attack summoners, is good, but the way the map is so small and gets bogged down, you frequently don't come into a situation where this happens more than once, once a round or something like that. It's I don't know. It's not super great, but he does look cool, and he hits decently hard, and he's awesome. So I'm not gonna complain too much. But yes, long story short, start with Chaos, then go to Xenos, and Imperial. Don't really worry too much about that. Thank you for watching. As always, love you.